Opportunity to welcome everyone again to our Herd Health Initiative series here at the conference. And I'm going to reiterate what Mr. Johnson said. Our topic today, we're going to briefly talk about herd health and reproductive efficiency. One of the key components that I think is that one of them could be herd health. Okay, so in this presentation, we're gonna go through a set of slides and we're gonna try to convey a message to the audience of things that we have done from Extension, the School of Ag, and the School of Veterinary Medicine. But let me start off by saying there's a second component that's very important as well that we'll talk about a little bit later on in this series, that Extension has already took a lead role in an effort to bring some knowledge to the black belt counties and the black belt farmers, and that's nutrition. We had our first meeting in a series of meetings led by our specialist, Mr. Alphonse Elliott, over in Linden with Mr. Miller on a week or so ago. Very well attended, good results. We got lots of information that's going to steer us in the right way of things that we need to be working on. So we actually bought a program through Mr. Alphonse Elliott, and there's a series of programs that's going to be going from the Linden area all the way to the eastern part of the state over with Mr. Moore. So with that being said, we'll begin our presentation. So we're going to start off talking about the Herd Health Initiative in the black belt counties. So this Herd Health Initiative, it started approximately 35 plus years ago, probably longer than that. And it was a joint effort between the School of Veterinary Medicine, School of Agriculture, and the Corporate Extension Program. Okay, so the question might be asked, what services do the landowner actually, or the cattle producer, what services can they actually receive? So they can receive vaccinations, castrations, deworming, ear tagging, dehorning, physical examinations, pregnancy checks, and aging for a reduced cost to producers. And a good example of that is on that for a cost of about $15 per head, roughly. Don't hold me to that because prices constantly change. You can get that per cost per animal for about $15 versus $62 full market cost. This is not a free program, and there's no way that I can stand there and tell you that we're going to be able to get around to seeing every producer in the black belt, but we have agents in every black belt county, well, every black belt region across the service area. If you contact them, Mr. Moore, Mr. Tate, Mr. McAlpine, and Mr. Miller, we can do our best to get you involved in some of these practices or some of these programs that's offered through Extension. Yes, Mr. Elliott. Okay, and Mr. Elliott, we don't want to leave him out. Mr. Elliott has responsibility over the entire state. He's our master county agent, serving in the area of beef cattle or livestock. Let me clarify that. Okay, I put this slide up, and the data could be a little old. It's a couple years old, but this is not what I say. This is what USDA says. So in the state of Alabama, if we notice in green up top, that's where most of the number of head of cattle are located in the state. That's our heaviest concentration of cattle in the state of Alabama. But if we come down here about Millways, in this section right here, this is the black belt of Alabama and surrounding counties right in here. We have 3 of those counties in our region that's in the top 10 in the state. So livestock, as it relates to enterprises that small scale farmers are doing, that's pretty significant. So if we look at, it's not very clear, but in Montgomery, here, it's about 45,000 head of cattle. In Lawrence, it's about 30,000 plus. And those are the two that they got highlighted on the actual numbers. So if we go to the first side of the screen, we talk about the following counties: Montgomery, Lowndes, Dallas, and Hale has the second largest concentration with total numbers of cattle in the state. We're the second highest concentration, and those are the counties that are listed. Somewhere around 96,000 head of cattle, roughly. Yes.
Based on your knowledge, I know those are USDA numbers, but based on your knowledge, assuming that a lot of black farmers and ranchers are not registered, don't fill the census out, does your knowledge being with Tuskegee in this area kind of correlate with your dark green spaces, or?
Yes, I would say those dark green spaces there, traditionally, because of the topography of the land, and the location, that's going to be somewhere close. Now there are lots of other cattle producers in various counties across the Black Belt region of Alabama. And that Black Belt region goes from Barber and Bullock all the way across to the Mississippi line to Sumter and Marengo. Now, and I got this information from a stockyard group. The bread and butter of the stockyard is small to medium producers. Okay, so that lets me know that as a small scale producer, from a practitioner's point of view, the better job we do with our management, even if we have not reached the point where we could commingle cattle together to do truckload sales, the better job you do, if you take them into the stockyard, if you got all these management practices in place, they're weaned, and if you notify them ahead of time, because keep in mind now, the bread and butter is the small to medium producers. All the other folks are going truckload sales. So if you go in and if you tell them that I've had, for example, Dr. Russell Johnson Jr. to certify my herd, and they have had these vaccinations, and they have been weaned, and they are eating from a bulk, and they could drink water from a trough, and they're not lowing and bellowing, your price is going to be a little bit different because they're probably going to bring them in as a group and sell them as a group versus, running them in the ring and me and Russell and Elliot is there bidding, and we say, okay, they don't know, we just give them anything. So management has a key part in helping to increase the amount of dollars that we are able to put in our pocketbook. So yes, to answer your question, I would say that that's pretty close. Lowndes, Montgomery, and Dallas are going to be way up there in the numbers. And you can actually get a feel for that if you ride down the county roads or the state roads like 31 and 80, where you can actually see out across the fields. And then when you get into some of these counties, you ride down these county roads, you can actually see. You're going to see an arrayment of large producers, but you're going to also see an arrayment of smaller producers that's not quite as big as the big producers. Okay. Now,